family that went to church, but my dad went to church and my mom didn't. And so like from a young age, it was always confusing why dad went to church, but mom didn't. Like God, religion, church, the Bible, Jesus was always something that I just like pushed off. It was something that like, man, would just be better at a different point in my life, but not when I was young. So like I just decided to live for myself. Like I'd heard that Jesus died on the cross for my sins, and I was like, man, that's super convenient. So now I have like this Willy Wonka golden ticket straight to heaven. So I put that in my back pocket and just began to live for myself. Coming out here to Frank Brown, waiting for this rain cloud to stop. Trying to get out on the court. Here we go. Dang, it's getting heavy out there. Growing up, I was always a super selfish person. I was the center of my universe, and so everything I did was all about me. It wasn't about pleasing other people. It was just about doing things and becoming more so that I could kind of lord it over people. I was chasing this image of perfection that always just left me feeling less than. I could never reach that image of perfection that I was going for, which just fueled my selfishness. It fueled my strive to be perfect because I thought I had this gap that I had to make up so I could be perfect. And so throughout high school, I was just chasing perfection, and it always left me crushed and broken. I got to college freshman year, and I didn't put myself out there to make friends at all. It's so easy to get plugged in at TCU, and I didn't do that a single bit. I didn't make any friends really in the first semester, and the friends that I did end up making, they lived for the night smoke. When I began hanging out with them, that's what I began to live for too. I always kind of just sunk my identity into whatever I was doing, and since my new identity was in this night smoke, was in this drug scene, I began to just sell drugs out of my room, and it really just led me to a lot of brokenness. And my heart hurt just kind of living for the night smoke because I'd wake up the next morning and always feel unsatisfied and unfulfilled, and that's why I was looking to do it again all the time. I get home for Christmas break after my sophomore year fall semester, and I get lunch with a high school friend, and I see the joy and the peace and the purpose that my friend had. Honestly, there was something about it that I kind of wanted. So I get back on campus in the spring semester, and a dude named Matt Getty just begins to share his life with me. He begins to pour truth into me. He begins to just show me how to read my Bible and challenges me to memorize scripture. Honestly, all these things were so new, and I really didn't even know what to think, but I began to see something different about the way Jesus lived his life, about the way Jesus interacted with people. I realized like, hey, if Jesus really did die on the cross for my sins, and he really did rise from the dead 3 days later, who he was the Son of God, and he really had paid all my sin on the cross. And so at that point, I just decided to submit my life to him. He became the Lord of my life, and from that point on, it was just like a whole different story. So Jesus just became the Lord of my life, and I began to separate from sin, and this just kind of looked like getting away from my fraternity brothers who were dragging me into some of the things and the bad habits that I didn't want to have. But after all this, God kind of reconciled my relationship with my freshman year roommate, Court, and I came to Kaleo with him, and he was my D group leader. At Kaleo, I caught a vision. I learned what it looked like to walk with God daily. I caught a vision for making disciples. I began to memorize scripture, and God just began to just show me how he could use my life for a whole new purpose, a whole new vision of just spreading his gospel among my fraternity brothers. I get back onto campus fall of 18, and I was really just set loose with the gospel. I began to just invest my life and try to multiply my life into the new freshman pledge class that just came into Sigma Nu. I quickly meet soon to become my fraternity little Blake, and he's spiritually interested. I began to just pour into him and teach to him the things that I learned at Kaleo. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says that this means that if anyone belongs to Christ, he has become a new creation. The old life is gone, a new life has begun. I look back at the first 3 semesters of my college career, and I honestly don't even recognize the Wayne Brown that was living back then. But that's because he was completely dead in his sin. I always have to remind myself that I wasn't living back then. I wasn't actually experiencing life. I was completely dead in my sin, but it's only because Christ rose from the tomb on the 3rd day that I can now be alive and experience life as he has designed it for me.